Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
It's been 6 months since my mother died, and the silence in our old house still felt like a physical weight. I made the decision to move back in with my father, Royce Dixon, for a while. He'd been lost without her, drifting through the days, and I couldn't bear the thought of him being alone. I expected a man worn thin by grief, perhaps a little disheveled, but still my dad. When I first walked through the front door, he was in the kitchen humming a cheerful, almost sprightly tune. He turned, a wide smile on his face, and greeted me with a hug that was a little too firm, a little too long. His eyes, though, were what caught me. They seemed too bright, too focused. Not the weary, kind eyes I remembered. "Kylie, my girl, you're finally here," he boomed, and it sounded less like my father's warm voice and more like a stage actor delivering a line. I chalked it up to him putting on a brave face, trying to be strong for me. Over the next few days, the subtle shifts began. He'd always been a creature of habit, especially after Mom's passing. Now his routines were jarringly different. He started waking at an ungodly hour, much earlier than usual, and I'd hear him tidying things in the living room, not just tidying but rearranging. My mother's collection of porcelain birds, which had sat untouched for decades, was now organized by color, facing inward. It was meticulous, unnerving. Then there were the memories. We'd be eating dinner and I'd bring up a funny anecdote about Mom, something only we would remember. He'd listen, nodding, sometimes even chuckling, but his laugh felt hollow. Once I reminded him of the time Mom accidentally dyed her hair green before their wedding. He paused, spoon halfway to his mouth, and then said, "Ah yes, the chlorophyll incident. She was quite amused by it." Chlorophyll incident? Mom called it her swamp thing phase. The precise, almost scientific term felt like a betrayal. I also started noticing a faint, acrid smell emanating from his bedroom. Not the comforting scent of his aftershave or old books, but something metallic, like stale blood mixed with ozone. I'd pass his door and feel a prickle on my skin, a cold dread that had nothing to do with grief. When I asked him about it, he just smiled, that same unnerving, too wide smile. "Just a little dust, dear. The house is getting old, you know." One evening, he insisted we watch old home movies. I thought it would be a nice way to reconnect, to share some laughter and tears. But as the blurry images of Mom played across the screen, my father remained unnervingly still. He didn't sigh or chuckle at the familiar antics. He just watched, his eyes unblinking like a detached observer studying a foreign species. "Look at her," he murmured, his voice flat. "Such vivacity. Vivacity. Not love, not my beautiful wife, but vivacity." The breaking point came when I went to my old room. He'd cleaned it, which was a nice gesture. But then I saw it. My old childhood desk, where I'd carved my initials into the wood when I was 10, was gone, replaced by a sleek, modern, perfectly unmarked slab of oak. And on the bed, neatly folded, was a dress I hadn't seen since high school, one I hated, one Mom had made me wear for a school dance. It was laid out like a display, not like a homecoming gesture. It felt like a test, like he was trying to see if I'd notice, if I'd conform. That night, I couldn't sleep. The metallic smell was stronger, almost palpable. I crept out of my room, my heart pounding, and found myself drawn to his bedroom door. It was slightly ajar, a sliver of darkness beckoning me in. I pushed it open slowly. The room was dark, but a faint light emanated from the walk-in closet. He wasn't there, but the metallic tang was overwhelming now, stinging my nostrils. I tiptoed to the closet and peeked inside. What I saw made my blood run cold. His old suit, the one he wore to Mom's funeral, was draped over a chair, but it was stiff, almost crust-like, and there were strange, fibrous strands clinging to the fabric. On the floor, meticulously arranged, were his old reading glasses, his favorite pipe, and his worn leather wallet. But beside them, on a small silk cushion, was a single, shriveled, almost translucent object. It looked like a discarded fingernail, but it was too big, too thick, and it pulsed with a faint, sickly luminescence. It was like a piece of something else, something shed. And then I saw the small, digital voice recorder, its red light blinking. I picked it up with trembling fingers and pressed play. It was his voice, my father's real voice, talking about Mom, about me, about his life. But it wasn't a recording of him speaking. It was fragments, isolated words, sentences repeated over and over, slowly, then faster, then perfectly modulated, like a machine learning to mimic. As the cold, dead voice of my real father filled the closet, a shadow fell over me. I turned slowly, terror gripping my throat. Roy stood in the doorway, that too wide smile on his face. His eyes were black, bottomless pits, no longer just too bright, but utterly empty. In his hands were moving subtly, just a fraction of an inch, but they were practicing a gesture, a familiar wave, like a puppeteer refining his craft. He knew I knew. I screamed. I didn't grab anything, didn't think, I just ran. Out of the house, into the night, not looking back. I called my friend Mackenzie, babbling incoherently, but all she heard was hysterics. The police found nothing, of course. Just an empty house, a polite note from my father saying he'd gone on a trip, and a phone left on the kitchen counter. They think I'm losing it, grieving too hard. I'm staying with Mackenzie now, but every shadow makes me jump. Every familiar face feels like a mask. I keep checking my phone. Sometimes, late at night, I get a text, just a single word from Royce. Home. I don't know if he's out there or if he's still in the house, just waiting. I don't know if it's really over or if he's just learned to play the waiting game better. I don't know who to trust anymore. Do you really know the people closest to you?
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.